Diary, good evening. It is Tuesday, the 29th of July, 2025, and this is a short update on the latest purchase, which is a Pironman5 case and Raspberry Pi for our principal home web server. Now, it's a strong buy. I'm going to explain what you get. But overall, it does work out a bit pricey. And the backstory to this is I've had this case and Raspberry Pi 5 for almost 2 months now, sitting on a shelf waiting to be installed. I feel like I've become an old curmudgeon because surely I would have had time to do this for 2 months. I've been really looking forward to it. And now that I've finally assembled the thing here, it's like, why didn't I do it earlier? That is the story of IT, isn't it? Anyway, so what is it? The Pironman5. I'm going to call it Pironman5. I'm sure I'm going to be slated in commentary. And why is it such a good thing? So first of all, it's expensive. This case is a case for Raspberry Pi 5. I'm looking at my Amazon order. It cost me £70, £70. The Raspberry Pi 8GB version, Pi 5, cost me £80. So we're talking £150 for the combination. And that does not include the SSD, which I installed it into this as well. What is so brilliant about this case? I mean, it's a case that looks like a mini PC server. It's got a CPU fan. It's got a CPU fan. It's got a space, an M.2 adapter, so you can put an SSD inside the case. And it's got 2 fans at the back here, but it's got an adapter that changes those really freaking annoying. I think it's mini HDMI. Was it mini HDMI? The small HDMI ports you can never find your cable for, and if you can, the cables are subject to break into full-size HDMI ports. So this turns the Raspberry Pi 5 into a really practical little computer. Now, at the price that I paid, you could easily say, why not buy a mini PC? And mini PCs. I have one just in front of me. I use it as my principal Windows server PC. So that's a very powerful PC. But you can get a Windows mini PC now, which is of a similar size to this, for under £200. So you're sort of talking about the same amount of money. However, the Raspberry Pi 5 community, or the Raspberry Pi community, is very well stocked for DIY projects, and so this is running a web server and all sorts of other things. And if I've got a problem or something that didn't quite work right with my GitHub download, or the package that I installed just doesn't work right, there's a much greater chance that you're going to find support for the problem on a Raspberry Pi forum than there is on a mini PC forum where you've just installed another Linux and the same kind of packages that you're installing here. So I strongly recommend, if you're running things like web servers or some Raspberry Pi 5 style project which you could otherwise run on a Linux computer and on a mini PC, I'd strongly advise going down this route. Now, my normal setup is this. It's a Raspberry Pi 5 in a case with an external USB drive, which isn't quite as fast as an M.2, but I use a specific SS. This isn't one of them, in fact, because it's slightly old. But all the new Pis I install use an SSK 500 megabyte per second USB drive. And to be honest, 500 megabytes per second sustained compared to I haven't done a benchmark really, but let's call it 1,000 megabytes on this Raspberry Pi. You're probably not going to notice the difference. Anyway, what is also so special about this is that the assembly is an absolute flipping flopping nightmare. I've got the pages in front of me. It's actually 4 sides of A4, and you get a set of a components list, and then you turn over and you start off at step 1. There we are. And then we get up to step 19. Are you still with me? And then we have to get up to step 27. So I couldn't sleep last night, and I was up literally till 3 o'clock in the morning. It's quite lucky actually, because at 3 in the morning the cat came in and said, I want to go for a walk. I said, okay, well, let's go for a walk. So I think from 3 till 4 I did the cat walk, and from midnight till 3 I was doing this. So the assembly is not for the faint-hearted, and this is where I felt like I was a bit like an old curmudgeon, because of course in the olden days I would have been, first of all, I wouldn't let it lay on a table for 2 months, but secondly I would have been excited to go through the 27 steps, because it is quite ingenious the way it fits together. So I have to give them 110% on the footballer score for the level of ingeniosity, if that's a word. And oh yes, the other amazing thing is it comes with a little display here. So you do a GitHub download of a repository, and then there's a Python install script, and then once you've done that and you power this little beastie on, this is like a CPU and memory display of what's happening on the system. So overall, it is absolutely fantastic. It did cost me £150, but I would have spent £80 on the Pi anyway. And these flirt cases are about, let's call it £20. So it's kind of £100 plus the cost of the SSK drive versus £150 plus the cost of the M2. So I think it was worth it as a desk. It's quite big actually, so I've got a whole farm of Pis that's kind of displaced the spaces for two Pis. And of course, you all know about Pi 5s, which is that it has a weird PD 5 volt requirement, 5 volt 5 amps, I think. So unless you've got the original Pi recommended power adapter, you may have power problems, but it doesn't come with a power supply. It just comes, they expect you to fit your own power supply. I'll just finish off with a little tour, a video tour, and then you can all rush out and buy one. Thanks for watching. So here is an example of the Pironman5 running. As you can see, it looks absolutely delightful. Of course, it looks like a large PC, but if I bring a mouse into view, you'll see it's a bit smaller than your average server. So it's actually running right now. I haven't got the LCD display program, but there it is. You've got the SD card slot. You've got this light bar to show that it's on. That's the power on off switch. You see you've got a CPU fan and 2 case fans, just like in a larger PC, desktop or mini server, and you've got the SSD. So when I bought this, it came with the M2 SSD adapter. And let's look at the back. We've got the 2 fans. We've got 2 full-size HDMIs because there's a little converter card. The Ethernet socket, and this is the USB-C power. So that's the visual tour.